Now,
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. As Chris has mentioned earlier, I am the new president. I have been just president since March 12th. And I truly believe in the mission of FCLA, having received the benefits of its membership when my mother-in-law passed away many, many years ago. So that when we tried to reorganize, I did not have a second thoughts about joining the board. And I became uh, the treasurer without really knowing how to become a treasurer, how to make reports, no accounting experience. But for 4 years, I have served. And so for this past 2 months, I've been a president, and I'm sure that I have a steep learning curve. And I'm glad that we have um, excellent board members who take up the slack. And I truly need their help. And also, I would like to appreciate all of you for being here today, for all your support and concern for uh, FCALA and our mission to help people who are undergoing grief. And so, uh, with that vein, I would like to say thank you to all of you, welcome you, and thank you for all your help. Yes, Janet.
Do we want to declare the meeting officially open at 6:42?
So after that introduction, I call the annual meeting to order. And I turn over to Chris for introducing our guest speaker today.
okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you again for everybody joining tonight. Our guest speaker is Andrea Barnes, and she brings over 25 years of website development experience and a strong marketing background to her work with San Diego Memorial Society. She rebranded the society with an all-new website, flyers, and other marketing material that moved the society into the 21st century. In addition, her deep understanding of grief allows her to offer compassion and clarity to those who call during life's most difficult moments. Andrea's unique blend of technical skills, creative insight, and heartfelt empathy plays a vital role in keeping the mission of the Memorial Society strong and their service accessible to the San Diego community. At this time, I'd like to introduce Andrea. Please take over.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that introduction. By the way, if you ever need an introduction for yourself like that, you need to use ChatGPT. It does a beautiful job. You just put in a couple of things and boy, you sound just terrific. Okay, so I've been the office director for the San Diego Memorial Society for 7 years now. It'll be 7 years in the fall. And when I first got started, the president at the time was a friend of mine, and he realized, because I had my son died, and he got to thinking, Andrea might just be perfect for this job because she's going to be able to answer those phones and really hear what people are going through, and she seems organized. So he hired me, the board hired me, and I really, the gal who I took over for was just an intermediate person. And she had her whole garage filled up with boxes of materials and stuff. Like, you just can't believe how much stuff. I had to rent a storage locker to hold that stuff until I was able to get through it. But she basically just handed me the computer and the phone that went with the society, a little mobile phone, and she goes, "You'll figure it out." And that was the extent of my training. And so I just dug in and I went through a lot of their, their old files and just started into learning how this is done and how to answer the questions properly. And then one of my first missions was to take their website, which was very bland, just really just bland, and you really weren't sure what to do. I don't even think that there was an online application where people could fill it out and become a member. But that all got changed because that is my expertise, is to do websites, and so I'm very adept at that. And then we did some of the marketing material. For example, this little flyer here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Let me hold it still. So, it basically just gives you 4 steps. Contact us online or by phone. Join easily for $55. That's $65 now. The assurance of having your plans handled for the future, and choose from any of the 5 plans that we offer. So, and basically that's how we work. What we do is every year in December, I go out to the 10 mortuaries that are on our list, and we'll be soon at the end of the year, we'll be having 2 more come on board. But with the Memorial Society, any of our mortuaries that want to be affiliated with us, they have to be in business for at least 3 years. And then we check that their credentials are okay with the funeral board. And then we bring them on. And any of our mortuaries can only have 2 I don't want to say citations exactly, but complaints. If they get 2 complaints during the year, then they're no longer part of the society. So they've got a lot of motivation to take really good care of the members, and they're not allowed to do any upselling. So this whole thing got started back in 1958 by a minister and his parishioners here in San Diego, and they were tired of seeing their parishioners get taken advantage of by the mortuaries. And back in 1958, you might remember that there was a lot of predatory things going on back then. There wasn't hardly any cremations being done. It was all the traditional funerals with the expensive caskets, and people were just kind of at their wits' end as to what to do about the high price of funeral services. And so this minister and his congregation took it upon themselves to follow in the trail of the Seattle group, which started the People's Memorial Society up there in Seattle. And they put it all together, filed for nonprofit status, and they only had 1 mortuary, and they had that mortuary for years and years and years. But as of 2010, I know for sure, I think we had more mortuaries by then, but as of 2010, that mortuary dropped off because they became a corporate entity. They got bought out by Dignity. And once that happened, they were no longer willing to have low pricing. So we let them go. Now, some of our members, in fact, hundreds and hundreds of our members stayed on with them. They sort of threw their hat in the ring with that mortuary. And they're still able to use those services at the prices that were negotiated back then. And I have nothing but praise that comes in for that mortuary and the good work that they do for, on behalf of our members. The way it works now is we have 10 mortuaries, and we have 5 different plans to offer. We have 3 cremation plans, a simple cremation. Then we have a cremation with a viewing service, a traditional service that ends with the cremation. And then we have one that is just, no body is present. It's a memorial service that ends with the cremation, but they're not lying in the casket for the service. Then we have 2 burial plans. One's a graveside burial package, and the other one is a traditional funeral, the way you would have thought about it back in the 50s. So those are our 5 plans. And I'll go to our website in here in just a minute, and I'll show you how we have our pricing laid out. But I go out every year in December, and I talk to each one of the mortuaries about what they're willing to put together as far as the pricing. And they give us the pricing on those 5 plans. And I got smart this year. I said to myself, well, I got smart after the fact, but I thought the best way to do this is to actually do a preliminary price sheet. Say it has to be due by the middle of December. And then the other mortuaries get a chance to look at the pricing that the other mortuaries have put forth. And then they're going to come down lower and lower because the person who offers the lowest priced cremation, they're the big winners. They're the ones who get, almost every member that we sign up because people really want an inexpensive cremation. I would say 9 out of 10 people are looking for a simple cremation. Now, today I got two people that one wanted a viewing service with a cremation and the other one wanted a no body present service. So, but that's a very unusual day to have two people that both want a service. So we have 10 mortuaries that are sprinkled all around San Diego County. We've got one in Oceanside, one in the East County, three more up in the North County, one in downtown, and one down in the South Bay area. And it works out really good. Chris was asking me earlier today if we guarantee a territory for any of these mortuaries, and no, we don't. We are bringing on two new mortuaries here that want to come on board, but as I mentioned earlier, they have to be in business for over 3 years before they can join our society. That's in our board, that's in our bylaws. And by the way, Chris, did you get a chance to send out that email that I sent to you earlier with some of the attachments? You're on mute.
I did. I don't know how much time that folks had to
Yeah.
take a look at it, but they did receive it. The board did
Okay, good.
receive it.
Yeah, so you'll know, I noticed when I was talking to Chris earlier, he said that you guys are trying to figure out how to move to an electronic meetings so that your bylaws state that you don't have to contact people, through the US mail anymore. Well, we jumped that hurdle, I would say 3 or 4 years ago. We have an attorney that's on our board, and he was able to really help us adjust our bylaws. And so I included that information that might help you with changing your bylaws as you're hoping to do. So that's the way we do it. Now, I know everybody's maybe moving in a little bit different direction and wanting to sort of be a pure society where you don't feel like you're marketing these mortuaries, but I have never felt that way. To me, I am offering these services that people need when someone's passed away. They call and they're looking for something inexpensive. I have mortuaries that I trust, that I've pre-negotiated the pricing with. I know I'm going to help protect that consumer because my mortuaries stand to lose their affiliation with us if they mess up and do any pressured sales at all. And they also have to keep that pricing for the full year. And so people are guaranteed to get the lowest pricing. $800 was saved today by the person who wanted that viewing service. $800 they saved today on a viewing service from one of our local mortuaries that are already fairly low priced mortuaries. But that's what they do. They negotiate the pricing. Why do they do that? Because they know that our organization has been around since 1958. They know that we have a lot of people coming to our website. We have 2,500 to 3,000 people every month coming to our website. And that's because of some very concerted effort over the years to get the ranking of that website up to where it is now. And that requires doing SEO, which stands for search engine optimization work. And in addition, there is blog postings. A blog is just an article that you write for your website. But see, Google and these other search engines, they know that you've added new content to your website and they say, wow, this person's really, this company has got a high authority. Their website's been around a long time. They're continually adding new content. People seem to stay on their website for a while and they really look it over. And so let me show you our website here real quick. Here we go. So one of the things that you'll notice, here we go. one of the things you'll notice right off the bat is it's very, very clear. When people come to the website, they've got two options: cremation packages, burial packages. Wow, this does not hurt my brain to look at. I don't have to read hardly anything. I've got pictures to look at. You have to do a website like you're appealing to a second or third grader. And I'm not even kidding, because people are so overwhelmed, I think, with information that they just can't take information overload. So if they come to your website and they've got like a whole, several paragraphs they have to read, forget about it. You've got about 2 seconds for them to look and say, this looks interesting. I'm going to stay on here. So right here in red, if you've just experienced the death of a loved one, call us now. We can help. We make it stress-free, cost-effective. We protect consumers and encourage you to plan ahead for the inevitable. See a list of our participating mortuaries. This is a little video that was created years ago, but that was back when it was really important to have video on your website. You can see how these are our 10 mortuaries, and they're scattered all over San Diego County. And it just goes in quickly, how do we work? We have 10 mortuaries. Members save $200 to $800 on a simple cremation, and much more on a burial plan. We send out a membership packet. Once people join, they get a little membership card that they keep in their wallet. And then they also get a booklet called the Final Planning Booklet. And anything that you guys want of ours, I am happy to give to you. Any of our marketing material, any of our booklets. A lot of these things were here when I came in here. And to me, this is something that should be shared for the good of what the Funeral Consumers Alliance is all about. So anything that I can do to help out in any way, just I'm here for you. And then you'll notice when you come down here a little bit further, you'll see that we have these different articles that have been written just in the past couple of months. I try and get at least one a month out. So save on cremation or burial, plan ahead for death, human composting. That'll be here in 2027. Biohazard cleanup. I just do all kinds of different articles and try and keep them relevant. We have a very simple application. Let me show you the mortuaries and pricing page. So you'll notice here that we have 10 mortuaries: Balboa Cremations, California Funeral Alternatives. They have 2 locations. Let me show you when you click here, frequently asked questions. Okay, this is strictly about California Funeral Alternatives. Do you have an on-site chapel? Is your facility set up to handle religious services? Do you have the ability to do witness cremations? So I want people to be able to know exactly what that mortuary might be able to offer. And not only that, people will call me and say, well, we want to have it, but we're going to need to have a chapel that holds 200 people. So sometimes I have to be like, oh, let me go look that up real quick. So that's that. That's our mortuaries and pricing page. You can see we've got it laid out in a table. Plan 1 is the simple cremation. Plan 2, graveside burial service. Plan 3, the viewing service with the burial. Plan 4 with the cremation. And then, let's see, the Plan 5 is the memorial service with the cremation. And they can click for details and it goes off to a PDF file. You'll notice when they click on this PDF file, it opens up in a new browser session, which is very important. And you want that to always be the case. You don't want them to leave your website and go somewhere else. So anyway, that's that. Let me just trying to organize my laptop here so I can see what I'm doing. So we have about us, the plan options, the benefits, the membership rights, the bylaws, the frequently asked questions. We had a speaker at our annual membership meeting, which happened on the 5th of this month. It was a Saturday. And he was a doctor who is doing the aid in dying, where they provide the medications that can expedite a person's death. I'm not necessarily for that, but a lot of people are, and a lot of my board members were interested in hearing about that. So that's who we invited to come out. I'll show you that real quick. So that's under events. And you'll see this is his picture. And then you can watch the video by clicking here. And you have to put in that passcode. But here within the next couple of days, I should have done it earlier, but I've just been swamped. I need to send out a newsletter that says, hey, if you enjoyed that meeting that we had and that speaker, please go ahead and send a donation. I think that spring and fall are the best time to ask for donations, and donations are a big part. They're waning, but that's just what's going on in the world. And also, we don't send paper anymore. Our last paper mailing was postcards that got sent out. I'm thinking it was 3 years ago, and ever since then, but we called for paperless. We told people in everything we ever sent out, we are going paperless. Please send us your email address. Register here. On our website, it would say register here to be part of our newsletter. And so if you're going to do that, you need to use a program like Constant Contact, or there's another one that's less expensive. It's called Mailer Lite, Lite. Excuse me. And that will be a very good thing that you can do for your membership, is to send them excellent articles. You can go up to the People's Memorial Society and see some of the articles that they're putting out, and classes. The Hemlock Society has interesting classes. There's death cafes that go on here in San Diego. I think there's one. And there are probably death cafes up in Los Angeles that might be, and that's just where people get together and talk about death. You're not allowed to do any, you know, putting out any marketing or anything with that. So what else did I want to talk to you guys about? In addition to having a terrific web presence and updated materials, you can go out to senior centers and put your flyers in a little, 3x9 stand and let people know that they can get help with funeral planning. Of course, you want to contact the hospice organizations, and you can do that via email. Let them know what you're about. Maybe a year or so ago, I went to all the different hospice organizations and took them, what was it, like candies or cakes or, something that they can eat. What I found out is that most hospice organizations just have somebody in the office, and most of their people are out in the field. So we started going out and giving talks to the hospice organizations. Dialysis facilities are very good for finding people that are going to need funeral services at some point, probably in the near future. So as far as the way I look at this, I'm disappointed that other societies are, in my opinion, throwing in the towel on this model. I think it works really well. I think it helps keep prices down really low, because competition is what will keep the pricing down. And it also holds the mortuaries accountable for their behavior with the members that you're sending their way. And anytime you plan ahead, you're going to have that peace of mind. If someone waits till the last minute and they don't have any plans for what to do about grandpa who just passed away, they're going to call the first mortuary they can think of, generally speaking, and they're going to end up paying too much. I got a call the other day, and somebody had just got off the phone with a mortuary that wanted $3,500 for the cremation. It's like, and there's not one cremation that's any fancier than another, really, when it comes down to it, except maybe if you're going to have a service. So giving people that peace of mind if they plan ahead, sending them the final planning booklet with their membership card. And then, like I said, the newsletters. We send out 4 newsletters every year, actually, and then we let them know that we're going to have this membership meeting, and I send at least 3 or 4 reminders about the membership meeting so we get a good turnout. We had 70 people at this last one. We had 30 people there in person and maybe 50 people in the Zoom call. So it was both. We try and do that. If we're going to have a membership meeting, we have it on Zoom and in person, so people can come out and get to know each other a little bit. We do have two mortuaries that are waiting to come on board. I mentioned that with the 3-year. And that's basically it. And maybe this is a good time. Let me stop my sharing here. Actually, I wanted to show you one more thing. We have this participating mortuary agreement. So, they have to follow these rules, making no effort to upsell services to members outside of the agreed upon plans. We can terminate them. Records, they have to keep the records about who they're doing, and they have to call and let us know if they're not very good about that, which is disappointing. But so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. But these documents that I just mentioned and showed you real briefly right there at the end have been sent to you guys through Chris. Okay, so let me ask you then if you have any questions about the way the San Diego Memorial Society does it, and let me be here for any questions. Oh, Jolene, you're on mute.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the presentation. I really appreciate you sharing all that San Diego is doing. I was just wondering, on the back side of things, once the member has been served, is there any follow-up to ensure that whatever the negotiated price was what was on the contract at the time of conclusion, so that you could say with reasonable certainty that the negotiated rates are within 20% of what was actually paid or something to that effect?
That's a good question. And the answer is no, I do not follow up. But whenever I sign someone up, I make it very clear that the price that is written on our website for the service that they want, for example, if you're going to use Cortez cremations, the listed price for that cremation is $900, period. End of story. That is the price. They will pay additional, they'll pay $24 for the death certificate, and they'll pay a $12 disposition fee. Those are the only two additional items that they'll have to pay unless they want to buy an urn from that mortuary or get something else from that mortuary. But I tell everybody that mortuary is not allowed to do any upselling. And I would say in the last 7 years, I've had maybe 2 people call and say, I don't think I was charged the right amount. And then I will call the mortuary and get to the bottom of it. But it's always because the person wanted something additional. So I'm very, very clear with people that our mortuaries will do what they will present the price that is listed there. And I don't follow up because I don't get any feedback about it.
Thank
Does
you
that
very much.
you
Yeah.
bet?
I appreciate the disclaimer down at the bottom about, the taxes and the permit and things like that. But I was just wondering if there was any sort of follow-up so that you could say with certainty to potential members, yes, our members have this negotiated one of 5 packages, and the average contract at the end is within 20% of what the posted price is. It
No,
was just a
it
question.
better be right on the nose. It better be right on the nose, or the mortuary is going to be hearing from me, and that will be considered a complaint.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Janet?
I would imagine that if there is some reason that the mortuary needs to raise their prices, they will consult with you so that you can update your website.
They're
And
not
that the
allowed
people
to
who have
do
signed
any price, they're not allowed to do any price changes until the end of the year because they sign a
Ah,
contract with us that says that that pricing is in effect for the entire year. And so,
okay,
they're not allowed to change their prices, say in June.
okay, but in other words, you do communicate with them if there is a need, but it's annual.
Yes, it's annual. Yep. And
Okay,
sometimes the pricing goes up. Uh, right after COVID, the prices with most of the mortuaries went way up, not way up, but they keep it pretty reasonable. They really do. And I don't see a huge jump in pricing. Some of my mortuaries went down this year. And like I said, I'm going to use a new strategy and have a preliminary price sheet come out. Let all the mortuaries look at it and say, I want more business from the Memorial Society, so I'm going to bring my pricing down.
Funny what competition does.
Exactly.
One other thing I wanted to mention, I was talking to, I'm a trustee for a couple of trusts for my nieces, and I was talking with him, and I mentioned being part of FCALA. And he said that, I better say who he is. My account advisor at the bank said that he sometimes gets questions about end of life decisions while they're talking about finances. So I told him I'll give him a couple of brochures. So that's another avenue that
I had
you can
never
look
thought of that.
Yeah,
Financial
I
management.
hadn't either.
Okay, great. I think Alan had his hand up first, Miguel.
Yes. What kind of leverage do you have in convincing mortuaries to participate with your program?
I do have an email that I send to mortuaries. I let them know, and I've got proof of what our how many hits our website is getting every month. I also let them know that if somebody calls 211, they're going to be redirected to us. I wish I would have gotten that out because there is about 10 or 12 items on that list that really say to them, oh, this organization really does have it put together. And they're going to get phone calls. I probably get between 1 and 6 phone calls a day. And I will spend as much time with the person as they want. I don't care if they're going to become a member. I will not even direct them to become a member if I think they would be better served by, say, body donation or calling the coroner for an indigent program or, whatever that I think that might be helpful to them. My point is not to sell them, but to serve them. That is the mission for my answering that phone and helping them through whatever it is that they have a question with. Alan?
Yes, thank you. I was wondering about the mortuaries on your list, the ownership of those mortuaries, and how much dropout have you had amongst the ones over the years?
I did have a mortuary dropout about 4 years ago, and I didn't get a reason. I probably should have, but I think it was because they didn't want to offer the low pricing anymore. I don't know for sure. And then I had another mortuary drop off because I had 12 there for a while. Then I had another mortuary drop off because they weren't going to do burials anymore. They were strictly going cremation only. And we require all of our mortuaries to offer all 5 of those plans because we want our people that are looking at this website and considering our plan to be able to compare apples to apples all the way down the road. Now, as far as the ownership of the mortuaries, they're family owned, they're not corporate owned, and some of them have more than one location, but they're accessible. I can call. I called one of them today. Hey, what about this? And so it just feels like a really nice network of people that I'm working with. Phil?
Yes, Andrea, excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Number one, in Los Angeles County, as you may very well be aware, we have something around 14 million people, and about 180 of those people die a day in Los Angeles.
Only 180?
Yeah, that's surprising, isn't more, yeah.
It is surprising.
Now, and how many die down in San Diego County a
I
day?
have no idea.
Idea.
I think
The-
that's interesting.
Well, one of the things that you said right off the bat with your website that really impressed me, and I do believe in that concept of less is more.
Oh, yeah.
You really have it cut down there in some long article, put them to sleep, get rid of them so quick, because they're not going to read it.
No
And
way.
you lose them. It's got to be something very direct like that. And that sounded beautiful. And finally, and I'll get out of your hair, you briefly showed us a card that you're using for
Yeah.
advertising at senior centers. I'd love to get a copy of that, an email copy of it.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. I can tell you, senior citizens will pick something up like that, short, brief, and they're not going to be reading or having to put a magnifying glass to read it. An excellent tool, and there are millions of senior citizen centers out here in Los Angeles County, let me tell you.
Yep.
Anyhow,
Yep.
Andrea, excellent presentation. I thank you,
Thank
my
you.
lady.
Thank you, Phil. Janet?
I was going to say, Phil, we do have a nice color brochure, or black and white if you'd rather print it that way.
I have
It's
seen
a
our
threefold.
brochure. I have seen
Yeah.
our brochure, but what
Mhm.
I'm seeing there is even more succinct than what we have.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I do believe that that is worth going after because people just
Yeah.
aren't going to waste their time reading it. And
They
it,
won't.
Well,
is very thorough and up to the point, but it's got more than what people really want. They don't even like talking about this, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to plan." They don't ever do anything about it. You've got to first somehow or other hook them, and that looks like a good hook to me that you have, Andrea. I haven't seen it, but I know other organizations who are not involved in this field, but other fields that thrive and live off that very brief, short and to the point, I'm great, come see me thing
Yeah,
without saying
I mean,
anything
well,
more.
exactly.
I would love to design such a card for us. If I could get a copy of that one to take a look at.
Here's
I'd
another
be
thought.
delighted.
I could send you actually, I think I've got what they call the PSD file, or I could modify it for you and just put your name on the bottom. A couple of years ago, there was another society, I won't mention any names, but they were interested in doing what the San Diego Memorial Society was doing. And I suggested that they let me redo their website and basically just duplicate the San Diego Memorial Society website, but of course, change everything so that it would belong to them, the logo, the phone number, the mortuaries that they're going to be using, everything. And I offered to do it for, I don't know, five, six, $700, ridiculously cheap. I mean, I would be, I would be donating about $1,500 of my time, which I was happy to do. But the guy who was one of the board members said, no, I really want to practice learning how to do a website, so we'll do it ourselves. And I thought, well, there's the nail in the coffin right there. And sure enough, they never were able to get themselves off the ground, because when someone's trying to give you some professional help, you should just grab onto it and go for it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's got
Mhm.
materials that are working, a website that's working, do it.
Yep. And yes, I know from both the ad design and street theater that you've got about 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
if
it.
you got that much time, if you get that much time.
Especially nowadays, I mean, people's attention span is just so limited. And I think especially when you're on a computer, um, you in a way you're sort of dying to get off of it. It's like, oh, I just want to get done what I got to get done here. I need some information. And so if they pull up something that they have to read, I mean, seriously, if it's a paragraph, it's too much.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, bullet points with very short sentences, those are your friend.
Oh, they definitely are. And I know I get probably close to 150 emails a day, variety of things. And
Isn't
I
it
can tell
crazy?
you,
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I really even read three or four of them.
Yeah, me too.
The only thing I do is delete, 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 delete.
I
But you
know.
got to catch them in that split second, and it's got to be hot and juicy, and to get their attention, to get them to click on you.
It's a fight for the
Oh,
attention there.
absolutely.
There's a part of me that is just so darn sick of doing websites, and I like learning. The thing about my particular job with the websites is constantly having to learn new things every 6 months to a year. It's like, oh, we're going to start doing websites totally differently. And then this and this and this. And oh, now we've got social media. Do you want to learn Instagram? It's like,
Mm.
no, I do not want to learn anything more. Plus, I'm getting to the age where it's like, oh gosh, help me. But I'm
I think Jean,
still really enjoying my time with the San Diego Memorial Society. Any other questions?
I
I
think
do have
Jean has
one.
her hand.
Andrea, it's really
Joyce?
great to see you. It's been
Oh.
several years since we've, been together, and I really appreciate you being on. And you mentioned you have 4 newsletters that you send out. We have a real problem trying to get emails. So if you don't do anything through the mail, how many emails do you send out, or what percentage of your membership can you reach by emails, or what do
Oh,
you do?
surprisingly, I send out an email that goes out to about 2,500 people. That's how many email addresses I have. And it's an astounding number of opens. I mean to tell you, I've worked for other companies and they get like, a 10% open rate. I get about a
Oh.
50% open rate.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's been a real hang up. Chris knows very well. He's trying to get emails. Yeah. So it's good. So
And I try and put some really interesting articles, not only articles, but upcoming events. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people putting Zoom things together and, local things happening over at the library. And so I always try and pull all of that stuff together for my members because I'm providing that service to them. Like, okay, this is the latest thing that's interesting. Here's something about composting. Here's something about green burial. And, just to keep things moving along. We've got a mortuary here in town that does aquamation. And we had her speak, or maybe it was it was the lady from UCSD body donation, the aquamation person, and me that got to speak at one of these Zoom conferences a while back. So that was kind of interesting. Allison, did you still have a question?
Yes, I do. Number one, is your membership a lifetime membership?
Yes. Yes, and we do not charge anything after that initial. It was $55 for years. Now it's $65 or $110 for 2 people. And like I said, now if they join, if someone has called and they're joining because that person's already passed away, I do not put a packet in the mail. I try and save as much paper as possible. I only put a packet together if they're planning ahead. If they've already passed or they're getting close to passing, I just send an email with all the pertinent information that they need. And that seems to work out just fine. People are finally doing email. It only took 25 years into the 21st century here to get people to finally get going with the email. Good Lord. Talk about dragging people kicking and screaming into the 21st century. Alan, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. A second question. I was wondering what membership database or software you might be using. And secondly, do you personally have some administrative assistance?
I do have a gal that helps me send out the packets. So, and I pay her out of the money that I get paid from this society. So that's really helpful to me. That saves me a lot of time to have her do that. And what was the first part of your question?
All right. It was what kind of database do you have?
Oh, it's very, very complex. It's called Excel.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just an Excel spreadsheet. Now I've got almost 39,000 members. So I've had to offload everybody before actually before the year 2000. I've got them in a separate file because it was just getting too big. Sometimes it would say, hey, we can't load this document. It's just too ridiculous. But I don't delete anybody. Even if someone has passed, it says DOD, date of death, and I put the date of death. And at one point, we really tried to clean it up and put together a mailing list. And then we threw in the towel on that and said, you know what? It's too expensive to mail. Our budget is extremely tight. So I have knocked myself out over the last 2 years getting our budget down to just a bare minimum. Like, for example, instead of using QuickBooks, we got a new program called Wave, WAVE, and I paid a professional to move all of the stuff over. Um, and like the credit card people, oh man, they'll rake you over the coals with their fees. So I worked really hard on that. Just anything, just really got it down to where we have the lowest possible amount of money going out every month as possible. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just wondered if you've ever been cloned.
Thank goodness. A lot of people are very happy that didn't happen, especially my mother, because I'm driving her crazy. She's getting dementia, and I'm now her mother, and she could not be more unhappy about the situation. Neither could I, as a matter of fact, but that's a different story. Dale, would you like to ask a question?
I would. I just wanted more clarification. You're using an Excel spreadsheet, but then earlier you recommended using Constant Contact and stuff, which is going to have keep track of the mailings and the same participants. So are you using both, or what are you using in addition to Excel?
The only thing that I put into Constant Contact, which it's not Constant Contact, it's called Mailer Lite. The only thing I put in there is the email addresses. I don't even bother with first name, last name, because I don't write dear so and so, welcome to our newsletter, and it would auto populate that first name. Mm-mm. I keep it simple, simple, simple. I have that inexpensive, it's $15 a month newsletter program that's very similar to Constant Contact. Maybe not quite as robust, but it's good enough. It totally allows me to put together a nice newsletter, and then I just send it out to all the email addresses I have on file. And if I've signed up, say, 30 people, 40, 50 people since the last newsletter that I sent out, I'll make sure and add in all of those new email addresses to the Mailer Lite, that Constant Contact newsletter thing. So that's all it is. It's not a CRM, it's not a customer relation management thing. It's just I keep things as trim and easy to figure out as possible.
Allison?
Yeah, we've had a problem trying to get people to give us their email. What response did you get when you sent out the email that said you're going to go to paperless?
Well, you might promise them some really interesting newsletters. Stay in touch. It's important to stay in touch. You want to try and give them a carrot so that they will. And if you have Mailer Lite or Constant Contact, they're going to provide a script that you can put into your website. It's not hard to do. I can help you with it if you need, but it will pop up a little box. Let me just show it to you here real quick. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to the home page. And if I go all the way to the bottom, see right here at the bottom, sign up for our newsletter. They just type in their email address and they say subscribe, and they're instantly subscribed to our newsletter. So you could set this up to go out in your, well, I was going to say send it in your emails. But obviously you don't have their email address yet. So yeah, it's not easy going paperless, but it does take a concerted effort. For us, it took a concerted effort over a period of about 2 or 3 years of just telling people, we're serious, we're going paperless. You got to get on board. And if people they'll call me, hey, am I still a member? I haven't heard from you guys for a while. Well, we did try and reach everybody, once upon a time to let you know we're going paperless, and I'm so sorry that you weren't a part of that. I will send them a physical newsletter if they really insist on it. but it's just so onerous to put together a paper newsletter. For one thing, so much of the newsletter that I put together is very dynamic. Read more, so they click here and they read more on the internet. Click here to watch the video. Well, you can't do that on a paper newsletter. It's very flat and not engaging. It's old school. And so I'm encouraging people to move into the 21st century with all that's possible, with getting people involved in your organization, providing them timely information and actually helping them be less lonely and become more engaged in attending webinars and seminars and all of these things that are available for people. And our newsletter provides that that connection for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Miguel?
Yes. What does it take and how much will it cost us to change our charter so that we don't have to snail mail?
Well, we just changed our bylaws during a membership meeting. We had it all drawn up and it was, anybody opposed? No. Everybody, yay, we did it. I mean, I've got a very easy board. I've got some really good people, but we don't fuss over the details too hard. If we see something that we know is going to work and we need to go electronic, that's what we did. And we did it a couple years ago, and it's just like, whew, okay, thank goodness that's over with.
Yeah,
We currently have bylaws that state that we may either contact people by USPS or by mail or by electronic means. So we've got that in our bylaws already.
Oh, good.
So I don't know. I mean, we can check against what you've sent us and see if there's anything that we've missed, but
Yeah.
our bylaws already allow us to contact people about meetings and things by electronic means. And that was voted on at an annual meeting. So it's, it wasn't just slid in there when nobody was looking. So people are not used to seeing a lot of stuff. Like I am very much in favor of newsletters. It's just that, getting stuff to put in there and producing it is quite a chore.
Well,
And we haven't.
here's another, I'm sorry, I stepped on your talking there.
Oh, I was just going to say, people don't expect to hear from us that way, so they may not realize they haven't heard from us. And people didn't hear from the group for such a long time because it was, really in palliative care there for a few years. So
Right.
Getting people interested in being part of it again is part of the problem.
Well, here's a thought. I put together a newsletter using MailerLite. I mean, I could, we could have two mailing lists, and I could modify the newsletter that I'm doing. I got to do it 4 times a year anyway, and I could just change it to say, Funeral Consumers Alliance of Los Angeles, send it out to your mailing list, and bingo bango, all of a sudden you've got good communication going on there. Most of my stuff is some of it's local San Diego, but certainly not all of it. And we could find stuff that's going on up there in LA and put it in for you. So keep in mind that that might be a possibility.
Well, just a 2-pager or something is, and the other thing is, I have done a newsletter for almost every organization I've ever belonged to. So as soon as I figure out what you're doing, I'll steal it all.
Good.
I'll just
Good.
subscribe to it.
Yeah, it's so easy. It really is. It does take a little bit of research to find the classes that are going on and all of that, but I could give you a quick lesson. I mean, in a half an hour, you'd be totally up to speed.
Dale?
Yeah, well, we'd have to
Oh,
check to senior centers and see where they're meeting about this stuff, but thank you. And I think Dale has a hand up there.
Dale? Still on mute, Dale.
Working now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That I saw that you had the little sign up for the newsletter thing on the website, like you showed us. And so I looked at it and I'm like, it's just asking for an email address. So you said you've got an Excel sheet that's got your member list, and then you just provide the email for the mailer light. But if you're only getting an email address from the website, does that mean you have no person's name or any other information tied to that? And
Right.
when they say the email address on the website, does it land in your spreadsheet with no name, or what is?
No, it doesn't land in my spreadsheet. If they fill out that little thing at the bottom of our website, it goes directly into MailerLite and they become one of the recipients of the newsletter. There's two options. Either that person's already a member, maybe they're already in the database at MailerLite, which they won't send out two emails, it'll just consolidate them. Or they're somebody who's just interested in receiving our newsletter and maybe at some point they want to become a member. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not trying to harvest those emails with the intention of trying to turn them into a member. I don't go looking for members like that. I don't do marketing like that.
Okay, so your 25,000 mailing email list is somehow,
2,500,
I'm sorry,
2,500.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 2,500 email list is probably mostly members, but very likely has some people on there who are not members as well.
Yes.
So in your member list, do you have members still that don't have an email address?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. And at one point years ago, I thought, well, I'm going to start calling some of these older members that are in the Excel spreadsheet that, and say, hey, this is Andrea with the San Diego Memorial Society. I'm calling to get your email address. I got a lot of negative reaction. It's like, who? What are you with? I don't remember ever signing up for that or whatever it was. It ended up not being worth it. It ended up being like, you know what? I don't need this.
So
I
how many,
probably, and there was just so many, or they had already passed away, and thanks for the reminder, that type of thing. So I just dropped it. And if they remember that there's a lot of people will start digging through their files, and they'll come across, oh yeah, I joined the Memorial Society a while ago. They'll call me. I'll get them back on board. I'll bring them back into the fold. I'll get their email address and bring them back in and they'll start receiving our information again. But they're going to receive it electronically or good luck.
I've lost. What do you do with the Excel list then? You're doing the email list. That's clear to people who may or may not be members. And then you have this Excel sheet, and I'm not sure what you have it for.
There's not much that's going on with it. It just sits there because it needs to be on record and it's backed up in the cloud. And,
What do you need it for?
It's your record of members, right?
It's the record of membership. I don't need it for anything except that if a new member if somebody calls, like I've had 6 new members that have joined in the last 3 days, which was great because we had a really slow month. And so it was nice to have a final push these last couple of days and get some more people on board. But that's all it is. It's just me registering their name. Let me show it to you real quick.
Well, you don't need to. I just wondered what do you use it for if the real activity is sending out the newsletter, but it's not really connected to the Excel sheet, then what do you use the Excel sheet for?
She's using that in place of little green light.
No, well, she's not though. She's not doing anything with it other than registering that somebody signed up as a member. Why does it matter that you have a member list anymore? I'm not following what you do with it.
Okay, so here's the membership list here.
It's
Yeah.
a
You
roster.
can see that
It lists,
you can see that this person joined back in 91. Okay. It has all their information, their
Yeah,
phone number.
right.
See, they don't have an email address here. Look at all the email addresses that are not here. But look, this person's DOD means date of
Yeah.
death. There's notes in the file. A lot of people, if they gave donations, I always make, like, look at this person here. Oh, I know Harry Goldenberg. He is a love. He calls me all the time. He's given me so many donations over the years and even sent me pictures of him and his late wife. It's like, it's like my grandpa or something. And this says this SIB means that he's registered with the old Humphrey mortuary, our original mortuary. So see, there's notes in the file. So you go down,
What do you
people
do
call,
with
their
the,
transfers,
Andrea,
and here we,
what do you do with the notes? Is it just,
if they call in, let's say Harry Goldenberg's uh, daughter called. Oh, my dad just died. Harry just died. What do I do? I look in the file. I say, hey, he's registered with the old Humphrey mortuary. Here's their phone number. And I got it right on the top of my head. You need to call them. They'll take care of everything for you.
oh, you,
So,
you list what mortuary they're with?
no, not always. Not always. I will do it if they will call me and say, hey, we've decided to use the XYZ mortuary. Then I'll put it in their file. But we instruct people, once you finish signing up with this as a member, everything you do from that point forward is going to be with the mortuary. And you don't need to call them until the time of death. You don't need to call ahead of time unless you want to set up a pre-need agreement. And 8 of our 10 mortuaries will do a pre-need agreement at the price that's been pre-negotiated. So that's pretty fabulous. You've got somebody that'll give you a cremation for $950 and you can lock in that price and maybe you don't die for another 20 years. That's genius.
I've never heard.
So, but we don't necessarily encourage people to sign up for a pre-need arrangement, but we let people know about it. I'm here to give people that sort of information. So here we have Natalie who signed up today, everything here, her email. She got our name from the San Rafael Catholic Advertising, which is my big second member that's ever come through with that particular form of advertising. And the only reason that thing's still running is because they're not charging us anymore. That's the back of the Catholic Church Bulletin. And then you'll see that this needs to be sent. The term here, send. My girl will look at this tomorrow and she'll go ahead and get that person her packet in the mail. These people here that at need means they've already passed. So you can see all of this. I would say about half of the people I sign up are signing up because they've already passed.
And so they're signing up in order to get a discount at these mortuaries.
Yes, that's exactly right. And to be protected by the arrangement that we have with that mortuary, that they're going to honor the pricing, they're not going to get screwed around, that they can trust these mortuaries, and that they're not going to be, have to put up with any upselling or high pressure. Because when someone's grieving, they can't withstand pressure sales. That's just not right. And that was the whole reason we came into existence in the first place, was to protect consumers. And that's what we're still doing. And I believe the way we're doing it works brilliantly. Does it take some work? It certainly does. But I think it's fantastic. And I'm disappointed that so many of the other societies gave up on this model. But I can see why, because it's work.
How much time do you spend a week on this?
Oh, it depends. But I would say on average, maybe 3 to 5 hours a week.
And what do you spend most of your time doing?
Taking phone calls. Um, and then there's certain times, certain weeks where I'm um, I'm calling hospice organizations. Right now, I'm working on taking the Kaiser booklet that they send out to all of their people who are becoming part of Kaiser, and I'm redoing it because it just needed to be updated. And the reason that I got a hold of their booklet is when my dad went on hospice a couple of months ago, he was being taken care of by the Kaiser Hospice, and they brought out their booklet. And I said, look, our phone number has not been this phone number, the phone number you have listed here, for over 10 years. So that's how often these hospice organizations get the opportunity to update their list that they give out to people, because they're on the front lines of people dying. These are people that really need the information on how to get a hold of a mortuary. So I'm redoing that. I'm not going to put us at the top of the list with stars next to it, although I would like to. But I'm going to set us up so at least our address and our phone number is correct, and that we have a little bit more of a prominent position as an organization offering pre-negotiated pricing for cremation and burial packages. So I'm just being proactive getting that done. So that's going to be time consuming. It's really hard to know exactly how much time. I would say some weeks, maybe I spend 7 to 10 hours, but I would say that's less common than the other one that I just 3 to 6 hours a week.
Some of the folks that have joined, Isabel, Barbara, Susan, Gil, good to see you. You arrived late. Do any of you folks have any questions? By the way, a copy of this will be available. But Isabel, Barbara, Susan, Gil, do you have any questions for Andrea?
Not at the moment. Thank you.
Isabel, Barbara, you guys okay?
Yes, I really appreciate this. I appreciate Andrea's information. It's been excellent.
Very
Good,
impressive.
good. Well, listen, I'm really happy to answer any other questions. I put my email address in the chat, so if any of you guys have other German songs you would like to send to me or questions.
Janet, I think there's an exchange there. German songs for the little thing there.
Yeah,
I have it highlighted on my
good, good.
Andrea, thanks so much for joining us. If there's
Um,
any last final words?
No, I can't think of anything. I'm really appreciate how many people you've got here at your board meeting tonight, and obviously passionate people that know the importance of helping people through the tough times when you have had a death in the family. And it's just amazing how many calls that I get from parents who have lost a child. And that's what happened to me. And I'll just sit there and cry with them, they're practically holding it together better than I am. But, I remember when I had to make that call, uh, you just hope that there's somebody on the other line that knows what you might be going through, because it's so difficult. And when you find somebody who's not trying to sell you something or pressure you into anything, who's letting you know, listen, I think I might have what you're looking for, but why don't you talk to your family first about this? That sort of approach is what you're looking for. And you guys have enough manpower that if you wanted to move in the direction of the way the Memorial Society in San Diego is doing things, you could make it happen. You definitely could. And Janet, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's the hardest thing. So I am here for you guys. I want you to know that if you have questions or you need materials or you need website help, by all means, I'll donate a lot of my time. I don't work for free, but I will donate plenty of my time to help out.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, you guys. All right. How do I jump out?
You can just go ahead and click end.
Okay. All right.
Into
Nice
the-
to meet all of you.
Thank you
Thank you, Andrea.
Lovely group.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you
you
for your
guys.
time. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Take care.
It was a wonderful presentation. Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank
that
you.
was. That
Thank
was
you.
impressive.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris, for arranging it. She was really inspiring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm glad Jolena, brought it up. We had been talking about doing making some changes and growing the membership and providing more resources for discounted pricing. And her name came up, and then the subject came up about a speaker, and Jolena said, "Why don't we have Andrea?" And I think that was a terrific idea. So my hats off to Jolena for that.
Very, very impressive.
We're going to have a board meeting, but we have some guests here, members of FCALA, Roger and Isabel and Barbara. You don't you have a whole bunch, you have the board here of FCALA. Do you guys have any questions for us about the organization thing, things that you're things you like, things you don't like? I mean, you got a sounding board right here if you like to use it.
Well, for me, I've been a um, long time member, but I haven't been active. It goes way back, but I recently came across a mortuary service that's not belonging to your list of memorial homes, but it kind of appeals to me. I live near Long Beach, near the seacoast, like Andrea lives in San Diego, and maybe important to both of you is a feature that I just came across last year. It's called full body burial at sea, where they just put you in a wrapping and drop you off 15 miles out to sea in what they claim is the world's only chartered offshore cemetery. Well, you just go underwater like they do in the Navy when they have somebody die on the ship. They just wrap you up and put you over, but they're not a member, and the price is pretty steep. But I called them once, and I'm still thinking about it. It kind of appeals to me, that system. Embalming may not be even necessary in that case.
I know
But the
I've heard.
price,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm done.
Okay. I did, somebody did call and ask for information about that, and there's a few people that are kind of like cremation organizations where they don't have their own crematory, but they have a relationship with a crematory, and then they provide the services. They're like crematory brokers. Well, there's crematory burials at sea. I don't have a boat. I don't have a captain's license or anything like that, but I know somebody who does, who offers her this service. And I set up, Chris's Burial at Sea, and I have a little markup, and I mark it. But they do have that in Marina Del Rey, out of Redondo Beach, and out of Long Beach and San Pedro, I think. But that's something that's not currently on the website. I'm going to put that as homework to bring to the table, so to speak.
I can email you the link to that particular mortuary if you want.
Thank you, Roger.
Okay.
Isabel, Barbara?
Chris, yes, I have a question. Somebody that I know has asked about body donation, and I remember Andrea mentioned that. Is there anything that FCALA has information
There is on the website. I can send you a link to a couple of the organizations that offers that. Some of them are local university, one, and then a couple are non-medical school organizations. But if you meet the criteria, they pay for the cremation after the certain needed organs are harvested.
I see.
But I'm gonna make a note right now, Barbara, and I'll get that to you tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. And is this recorded session, is this available to us to access?
Yes, I'm gonna make it available on the website. It's just gonna be a link to get to it. You just click on the link and boom, you're gonna see this all over again.
Okay.
Chris,
Yeah.
just a reminder, before we adjourn, we need to have election for the 3 board members for their new term.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. We would
Before
like.
we do that, let's ask Gil, how long have you been a member of FACLA?
You say Phil?
Gil?
Gil.
Oh,
Phil or Gil?
Gil.
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 Still. Are you talking to
Welcome.
me?
We're
Yes,
talking
I'm
to
talking
you,
to you.
Gil.
Are you
Leave.
talking to me?
We're talking to you, Leave.
How long have I been the member? Oh man, quite some time. But I don't like to use this term in connection with this group, but inactive.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
But but I don't know. Do you know how long I've been a member, Chris? I don't know.
I'd have to look it
15
up.
years? 10
I'd
or
have to
15
look
years?
it up. By the way, just so you guys know, I asked Gil to consider becoming a board member, but while he tries to remember, I'll see if I can find out what his date is.
Okay, I noticed you had joined late. That's why I called you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I've been sick with a cold and I just kind of nodded off for a while. I really missed the opening of the thing. I
Okay.
apologize.
No problem.
Okay, we have 3 board members that need to be elected for their new term. And these are Jean Okuye, Janet Cornwell, and Alison Boyle. I think we can elect them all at the same time.
Then we need to elect them to offices also, don't we? Or is that just in the board?
That's that the board decides on the officers.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, I
we
think
just need to
we did election
do the board.
for the different offices, but right now we are going to elect them to a new term as board members.
Mike, do you
Yes.
want to maybe suggest that we take a vote and then we all raise our hand with the thing in the, or do we want to, because most everybody doesn't have their camera on. So does everybody know how to raise their hand with the react button?
If you put your cursor in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see 3 white dots. Go ahead and click on that little square, and in that menu, nope, not there. It lowers the hand. Janet, where is it?
I think if
Down,
you-
I've got it down in a thing called React.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
React
what
at
I
the
use.
at the
Yes.
bottom. So
Yes.
it depends on if you have an iPad or a PC
Ah, there it is.
or a phone.
There it is.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, to the left of the word share is like a little heart. Is that like a heart?
Yeah. A heart.
Okay. So at the little heart, just click on that and you'll see a bunch of choices here. You can you can have a thumbs up or something, or the raise hand. There's a raise hand on the bottom.
So do you want to practice? Everybody do a thumbs up, and that way we know people know how to find the
Okay.
button.
Hit your
Okay.
thumbs up or raise your hand. Okay, look at that. Gil's a quick learner. Gil, you've been practicing, huh?
No, that was an accident.
Okay. My
So
gosh.
most
Okay.
everybody is not. I don't see reactions from everybody yet. so
Isabel, Cheryl, you guys know, well, Barbara, you know how to do that? On the very bottom, there's a little heart. It's in between chat and share on the very end. Oh, thank you, Isabel. There you go. Isabel's got that. So Barbara, at the bottom between chat and share is like a little heart tilted to the right. If you click on that little heart, right above on the very bottom, it says raise hand. And then you click it, and then in your little square, we'll see your hand raised.
But you have to count them fast because they disappear.
Okay.
well, if you raise the hand, it will stick there. If you
The
pick any,
hand raised hand stays there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that much I know. Okay, well, you know
Okay,
what? Okay, whoever has having issues with that, you can just unmute yourself and say aye, right? Does that work, Mike?
yes.
Okay, so either
So,
with a show of hand or an aye. Oh, okay.
okay, are you ready to vote?
What are we
Jean
going to vote on
Okoye,
first?
Janet Cornwell, Alison Boyle for a new term as board members. If so,
Do we have a
click.
motion?
Jean,
Do we have a motion?
Would you like to make the most? No,
I'm
anyone
one of the
who,
people involved.
Janet,
We need
would
a
you like?
motion and second and then vote.
This is Dale. I'll make the motion that we vote for, is it Allison, Jean, and Janet together?
Janet,
Yes.
yes.
Allison, Jean, and Janet for a term as board member. We need a second
The 2-year term.
for, yes, a 3-year term. So it's 3 years by our bylaws.
Those 2 years.
2
2
years.
years.
2 years.
2-year term.
Yeah, sorry, 2 years by our bylaws. So I move that Janet and Jean and, sorry, Janet and Jean and Allison, I nominate them for a board member for the next term. So we need a second.
Any second? Any
Oh,
second?
somebody put us out of our misery.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we elect Jean Okoye, Janet Cornwell, and Alison Boyle for a new term as board members. Anyone who you would like to say yes, to vote yes?
Vote
Uh,
yes. Isabel, Barbara, you can unmute yourself and say aye or make a little.
Yes. Yes,
Isabel?
but I need to leave. Sorry. Yes.
Well, it's okay, Isabel. Thank
so
you
your
for
vote is
joining
yes,
us.
Isabel.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Isabel.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Have you voted?
I think so. Barbara, have you voted?
Yes. Aye.
Okay.
Phil, I don't see Phil.
I'm only voting for the other two. You guys can vote for me, okay?
And unless you want to say anybody not in favor, Mike.
Anybody not in favor?
Ah,
I'm gonna take down my hand. Yeah, if you're not in favor, say
nay.
Say no.
Or
Okay.
thumbs, is there a thumbs down?
I think it's unanimous, Mike.
Yes. So Janet, Jean, and Allison are elected. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Thank you.
Is there anything we need to do before the adjournment of the annual meeting?
Anything else? Gil, is there anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm gonna have to look at this again from the beginning because I missed the
Okay.
first part of it.
Okay.
I'm glad they don't have any obscene hand gestures to put up there.
How about that? Okay, we'll get that link out and give me a call if you have any questions, Gil.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
very
Barbara,
much
for joining.
And the board
thank
members
you.
will stay for our board meeting. Please.
thank you.